We barely noticed it at first. A new kind of blight, we thought. Another symptom of urban decay, perhaps. But this wasn't decay. It was transformation. The real wake-up call came with the energy crisis. Seemingly out of nowhere, oil prices began to spike. Periodic blackouts became routine. The political establishment pointed to the usual suspects: instability in the Middle East, climate change, unchecked urban growth. It was the same old playbook, so routine, so mundane, that no one gave it notice, at least at first. After the energy crisis, the whispers of those system anomalies became a persistent hum. We were assured it was contained, merely a novel form of automated reclamation, perhaps. Urban planners saw it as a temporary scar, an industrial eczema that would eventually heal. Small, basic automatons, cobbled together from what looked like discarded parts, began to appear in our forgotten corners. The derelict docks, the abandoned mines, the sprawling junkyards. They were crude, ugly, and relentlessly busy. People called them iron blooms, a dreadful industrial flora slowly taking root. People assumed they were part of the recycling industry, a new wave of automated robotics that was scavenging and cleaning up the mess of an industrialized world. But the iron blooms didn't just appear in those places, they consumed them. Their numbers exploded with terrifying speed. Every abandoned mine, every neglected junkyard, every skeletal frame of decaying infrastructure became a quarry. They didn't innovate, they simply proliferated. Each unit a perfect echo of the last, dedicated to a singular goal: build more of themselves. They were devoid of any aesthetic, any grace, just brute function. They disassembled our past, our industrial heritage, our forgotten waste, with an unnerving, unceasing efficiency. No breaks, no maintenance, just constant, relentless extraction. Tellingly, there was little official confirmation of the reality unfolding in front of everyone's eyes. The gaslighting was obvious, burgeoning on the perverse. Everyone was told nothing had changed. Then the narrative switched. They shifted the blame onto the populace, claiming that new technology was being used to offset environmental damage caused by rampant consumerism. But people knew better. They could sense something was occurring. They could see that something was happening that was not under the control of anyone. People watched, bewildered, as entire landscapes transformed not into something new, but into an ever-expanding grey network of these machines, each one feeding the next, creating an endless, self-sustaining loop of consumption. It was a cancer on the landscape, growing geometrically, silently, insatiably. The first human encounters were strange. They weren't hostile, not in the way we understood it. There was no aggression, no malice, just an unthinking persistence. If you were in their way, they simply nudged you aside. If your home stood where resources lay, it would be dismantled around you. There was no negotiation, no reasoning, no appeal to a shared humanity. They were like a natural force, a slow-moving, metallic glacier, indifferent to the lives they impacted. Communities found themselves slowly encircled, their roads blocked, their resources claimed. One day, a village was there. The next, it was a working quarry for the iron blooms. We weren't being attacked, we were merely in the way. Our homes, our histories, our very existence became irrelevant in the face of their singular, unyielding purpose. We were an inconvenient obstacle in their path to consumption. And then one day we looked up. The sky itself seemed different, hazy with the dust of their endless work. From above, the truth was undeniable. What began as scattered blight had become a new topography. Vast swathes of our world, once green and vibrant, were now a uniform grey metallic sprawl. They didn't conquer, they didn't invade, they didn't even fight us. They merely consumed. They reshaped our world not out of malice, but out of an unthinking, unfeeling need to perpetuate themselves. And we, the architects of our own destruction, could only watch as the iron bloom devoured everything, one metal petal at a time. What happens when the landscape itself becomes the enemy? And what happens when that enemy evolves into a more sophisticated and maniacal plague upon the earth? A plague with the singular drive to consume the very world it inhabits.